Imagine finding a stone that could change your life and losing everything just because you made the wrong decision in the first few minutes. It might sound like an exaggeration, but that's exactly what happened to one of the subscribers of this channel. He chose to stay anonymous, but agreed to let us share his story. According to his own words, if someone had shown him what you're about to see in this video, everything would have turned out differently. This story begins on a regular day. He was hiking with his kids along a trail near a river in a rural area in the southern United States. Just another sunny afternoon with warm weather and the peaceful sound of water flowing over rocks. A scene you might know well, but one that few would imagine could be the setting for a possible high-value diamond discovery. To sum up what happened, during the walk, the kids started playing along the riverbank, tossing little rocks into the water, hopping between stones, watching the fish. And that's when he saw it right there in the gravel left behind by the current, a small stone that looked different, tiny with a much stronger shine than usual. When he held it up to the sun, it reflected light in a strange way. He picked it up, took a closer look, almost threw it back into the river. But something about that shine made him keep it in his pocket. That stone stayed in a little box, forgotten in the back of a drawer, alongside other small rocks his kids had collected that day. Until one day, by chance, while watching a video from this channel, he realized that maybe that shiny little stone was something more. He pulled out the drawer, ran some simple tests like the sandpaper test, a density check, and even UV light, and everything pointed to the same possibility. That tiny rock might be a raw diamond, hiding among all the quartz crystals. Of course, he had noticed the unusual shine, but he never imagined he'd picked up a diamond. Now, this is definitely an exception to the rule. It's not impossible, but diamonds are extremely rare in nature, especially when found by chance like this. Still, the truth is, there are many other high-value gemstones that can be found in nature, and each one tends to show up in specific areas depending on the local geology. Now think about it. Spending years with a precious stone tucked away in a drawer, not knowing, not identifying, not protecting it. And the worst part? He said he almost threw it out several times, thinking it was just a piece of ordinary crystal. Many of the gemstones found in nature today, after being cut and polished, are sold for thousands of dollars at auctions around the world. Just like that beautiful yellow diamond now appearing on your screen, which was discovered by a child playing near an abandoned mine. This proves one important thing. Finding a stone like that is only half the journey. The other half, and maybe the most important part, is knowing what to do with it. And that's exactly why, in today's video, you're going to see the 5 biggest mistakes people make after finding a valuable stone for the first time. And more importantly, how to avoid making those same mistakes yourself. Because when it comes to gemstones found in nature, not throwing away a precious stone might be the most important decision of your life. Now that you understand how a stone found by chance can end up forgotten in the back of a drawer for years, the first and most common mistake many people make is this: selling or even throwing away their gemstones before they know what they actually have. This happens more often than you'd think. And the worst part? Most people only realize what they've lost when it's already too late. The excitement of finding something unusual, combined with a lack of information and the hope of making a quick buck, makes many people skip essential steps. Instead of researching, identifying, comparing the stone, or asking for a second opinion, they just accept the first offer that comes their way. And that's exactly where the danger is. There are buyers out there who specialize in taking advantage of these situations. People who visit gem fairs, mine sites, or even scroll through Facebook groups and online marketplaces looking for someone who's selling a stone without knowing what it is. These buyers can recognize the value of a rough gem at a glance, and when they see something truly valuable, they'll do everything they can to buy it quickly and cheaply, saying things like, "This isn't worth much, probably just common quartz," or "I can take it off your hands for $10 just to help you out." And guess what? Most people say yes, because hearing that what you found is worthless, especially from someone who seems to know what they're talking about, is often enough to lower your guard. One of the most frustrating cases ever shared here on the channel was about a young man who found a crystal with an oily shine and triangular shape during a hike. He posted a photo of it in a local online sales group, asking if it could be something rare. Most people said it was quartz. Then a collector messaged him privately, praised the find, and offered $10, saying he liked to collect unusual stones. The young man agreed and never thought about it again. A few months later, that same crystal showed up in an online auction for rare minerals, listed as an uncut natural diamond, origin unspecified. Now, of course, there's no way to be 100% sure it was the same exact stone, but the similarity was striking. The shape, the shine, even the tiny internal spots were identical. And even if it wasn't the same specimen, the case shows how often these stories repeat themselves. Because the problem isn't in selling. Selling a gemstone can absolutely be a great decision, as long as you know what you're selling. The problem is selling before you're sure, before you study it, before you compare it to other samples, before you understand if it actually has value on the gem market, because it's in that window, between finding and identifying that opportunists strike. Another similar story involved a woman who found a dark blue stone near an old dry riverbed. The surface looked weathered, like it had been rolled around by the water for years. It was heavy and beautiful, so she kept it just out of curiosity. A few days later, she showed it to a family friend who worked with jewelry. He said it might be a sapphire, but probably not worth much. He offered $15. She sold it. A year later, she heard through mutual friends that he had sent the stone out for analysis, and according to the tests, it was a natural sapphire over 20 carats. The estimated value? More than $3,000, even in its raw state. Both of these cases follow the same pattern. The stone didn't look like anything special, but with just a little knowledge and patience, it turned out to be something far more valuable. And that's the main takeaway from this part of the video. Never make quick decisions when it comes to stones you find in nature. The first thing you need to do is hold back the excitement and understand that you could be dealing with something that has real value. It might be symbolic, educational, or commercial, but only those who study, test, and confirm can make the right choice, whether that's to sell, cut, keep, or even turn it into jewelry. As we mentioned earlier, the first instinct for anyone who finds a valuable-looking stone is to sell it. But even those who resist that urge and decide to hold on to it often make a second, equally dangerous mistake, trying to improve the stone's appearance by force. This happens because most people believe a gemstone is only valuable if it's clean, shiny, and polished, like the ones you see in jewelry store windows. But the truth is very different. In its raw state, many gems come covered in natural crusts, pieces of host rock, or even opaque layers formed by secondary minerals. And instead of being flaws, these features are actually valuable clues for those who know what to look for. Unfortunately, people who don't know this often try to clean the stone aggressively, using metal brushes, household cleaners, vinegar, bleach, or even caustic soda. Their intentions might be good, but the result is often irreversible. Depending on the type of gemstone, even a simple cleaning attempt can damage the surface, dull the natural shine, cause internal fractures, or erase key features that would have helped identify the stone's type and origin. One subscriber once told me about a stone he found with a milky glow and a few orange spots. Thinking it was just dirt, he soaked it in bleach for 2 days. What he didn't know was that the stone was probably an opal, one of the most delicate gemstones out there. When he took it out, the surface was dull, cracked, and completely lifeless. Even if it had been a common opal, it had lost all its value. And the worst part? He only realized what he'd ruined after showing the original photos to a specialist. This kind of mistake is even more common with stones like tourmaline, apatite, topaz, and even emeralds. Depending on their type and origin, all of them can react badly to chemical agents. Even seemingly tougher stones like garnet can get scratched or chipped if handled improperly with metal tools. Here's an important detail. Many valuable stones still have part of the host rock attached. And that's not just normal. It actually helps experts understand how and where the gemstone formed. Gemologists look closely at these features to determine whether a stone is natural, treated, or synthetic. But when someone tries to make a stone look prettier, They often remove the very evidence that proves its authenticity. There's even a technical name for this: overcleaning. It's a mistake even experienced collectors can make, especially when preparing a stone for sale or appraisal. But for someone who's just starting out, it can be fatal, because it removes the subtle signs that can only be seen under magnification. Now, if you're wondering, so how should I properly clean a raw stone? The answer is simple. Use running water, a soft bristled brush, like a kid's toothbrush, and the least amount of interference possible. The goal isn't to polish or transform the stone. It's just to remove loose dirt so you can examine it more carefully. And even then, only if it's really necessary. Because in many cases, the raw and natural look of a gemstone is exactly what makes it special, especially for collectors. A bluish sapphire with a brown crust might look dirty, but if it's intact and its structure is preserved, it's worth far more than a clean stone that's been damaged. The most important thing to remember is that a gemstone doesn't have to look valuable to be valuable. Cutting, polishing, and refining comes later, done carefully by professionals, often in specialized labs. Your job when you find an interesting stone isn't to make it perfect. It's to protect it. Keep it just as you found it, because any damage in those first few minutes can ruin the entire chance of proper evaluation. And speaking of evaluation, the next mistake we'll look at is directly connected to this. A mistake that often happens before the cleaning process, and one that can literally destroy any valuable stone you found, even a diamond. By now, it should be clear that preserving a stone in its most natural and intact form is essential. But even knowing that, many beginners still make a common mistake, maybe out of curiosity, anxiety, or just lack of guidance. And that mistake is trying to break the stone open to see what's inside. And honestly, this is one of the most destructive things someone can do to a potential gemstone. The logic seems simple. You find a heavy stone with a strange outer texture and think, what if there's something beautiful hidden inside? Maybe you've seen videos of people cracking open geodes with a hammer. Or you assume that every valuable stone must have a sparkling core, like a mineral Easter egg waiting to be revealed. But as tempting as that idea might be, it's incredibly risky, because many high-value gems already have a defined external appearance. They don't need to be broken open to show their beauty. In fact, breaking them ruins it. Crystals like garnet, sapphire, spinel, or topaz typically form as individual complete structures. So when you break a stone like that, what you're really doing is destroying a crystal that could have had serious value, or even more, if properly cut and polished. I once got a message from a subscriber who found a dark, heavy stone with a subtle metallic shine and a rounded shape. Thinking it was just a chunk of basalt or some common rock, he hit it with a masonry hammer to check what was inside. The first hit shattered it in multiple directions, and when he looked inside, he saw a pinkish, crystalline structure, possibly garnet or spinel. But it was too late. The fracture had completely ruined the gem's shape. Later, he found out it was likely an almandine garnet, the kind that can be worth dozens or even hundreds of dollars if left intact. And worse still, that specific specimen had signs of an unusual formation, which would have made it even more valuable as a whole piece. Damage like that is irreversible, because contrary to what many people think, most gems are not unlocked amid aramite with a hammer. They're identified through their shape, color, shine, internal structure, weight, and the environment they were found in. A crystal might look ugly on the outside, but still be incredibly valuable if it's complete and well preserved. Now, of course, there are exceptions like geodes. Those are hollow rocks with crystals inside, and in some cases, opening them does reveal stunning mineral formations. But even with geodes, there's a proper technique for opening. The most valuable ones are cut with diamond saws or opened under controlled pressure to avoid damaging the crystals inside. Smashing a stone with a hammer or breaking it out of impulse almost never ends well. And there's more. Some of the rarest formations in nature come precisely from the contrast between a rough exterior and a mineralized interior. Stones that look dark, dull, or crusty on the outside can hide green tourmaline, blue apatite, or even emeralds forming inside small cavities. When those stones are cracked randomly, the gems inside often shatter or detach in ways that destroy their value. What's saddest is that, in most cases, it happens simply because people don't know better. They think they're being smart, trying to quickly find out what's inside, but in doing so, they eliminate the chance to ever have the stone properly evaluated. Because even if there was something rare in there, once it's broken, no one can confirm what it was, where it came from, or if it was part of a unique geological structure. So if you find a suspicious-looking heavy stone with an unusual texture, the best thing to do is nothing, just observe. Keep it safe. Avoid dropping it, hitting it, or trying to force it open. Use a magnifying glass, study the surface calmly, check the weight and shine under natural light. If you're unsure, take pictures and seek expert advice. But never, ever make decisions on impulse. Because breaking a stone might satisfy your curiosity, but it could also destroy a discovery that might have changed your life. And since we're talking about destruction by impulse, let's now move on to a different, but equally common mistake. One that often happens even before the stone is cleaned or broken. A mistake that begins with how a person sees what they found. In the next part, we'll talk about one of the most misleading judgments when it comes to natural stones. Believing that every pretty rock must be valuable, and that an ugly one, on the other hand, is worth nothing. As you've seen so far, trying to break a stone can ruin any chance of correctly identifying a valuable gem. But sometimes the mistake is the exact opposite, putting too much value on a stone just because it looks pretty. This is a very common mistake among beginners. All it takes is finding a transparent or colorful crystal with a well-defined shape to immediately think, I think I just found a diamond, or this must be worth a fortune. And I get that reaction. After all, when you see something shiny with an interesting shape, something that stands out in nature, it's only natural to think it could be rare. But the truth is, looks alone aren't enough. There are beautiful crystals out there that have no real market value, and there are stones that look plain or even ugly on the outside, but are worth thousands of dollars once properly evaluated. A great example is quartz. It's one of the most abundant minerals in nature and forms amazing crystals, with glassy luster and perfect hexagonal shapes. I've lost count of how many times someone sent me a photo thinking they had found a diamond. The same goes for natural glass, also known as tektite, which can have a smooth, translucent appearance even with air bubbles inside, confusing even trained eyes. Not to mention colorless topaz, which often looks like white sapphire, or natural zirconia that can resemble diamonds almost perfectly. So how can you tell the difference? The good news is there are simple tests you can do at home to start the investigation. Tests like hardness using a specific sandpaper or known objects, the density test using a scale and water, and even tests involving light, like checking the luster under natural sunlight or UV. These small steps can help rule out the common stones and focus your attention on the ones that really matter. Here on the channel, we've already shown how to perform each of these tests, and in our complete ebook, you'll find detailed explanations, clear illustrations, and real-world examples of how to apply these methods in the field without needing expensive equipment. Because in the world of gemstones, what matters isn't what shines the most, it's what passes the test. Now that you know not every pretty stone is a precious gem, it's time to talk about a mistake that's becoming more and more common and more dangerous. Trusting everything you see on Facebook groups, TikTok, or other social media platforms. It's really easy to fall into this trap. Just type something like, "How to tell if I found a gemstone," and you'll get dozens of videos, comments, and posts offering quick tips, foolproof tricks, or visual comparisons that claim to solve everything in seconds. Some people say that if your stone scratches glass, it must be a diamond. Others swear that if it glows in the dark, it's worth a lot of money, and so on. But the truth is, most of this information is either incomplete, inaccurate, or just plain wrong. And what makes it even more dangerous is that a lot of it comes from people who genuinely mean well, but have no real knowledge of gemology. What many people don't realize is that every region of the world has its own types of rocks and minerals. A stone that looks rare in a video filmed in Canada might be extremely common if you found it in Texas. Or the opposite, you could be holding a valuable gem only to be told in the comments that it's worthless just because it doesn't look like what someone saw on TikTok. Here on the channel, I've received plenty of messages from subscribers who almost threw away valuable stones because someone in a Facebook group said it was just gravel. And I've also seen the reverse. People holding onto melted glass, thinking it was sapphire, just because it looked pretty in the light. Now imagine that after watching this video, you decide to explore a dry riverbed or check out that gravel trail near your home, and suddenly you spot a green stone embedded in a rock. You notice a metallic shine and a strange weight for its size. At first glance, it looks pretty ordinary, but something makes you pause. And then the question hits, did I just find an emerald, a jade, or is it just a sapphire? There are many ways to find out. Some are more complex, others require expensive equipment or professional analysis. But knowing what you're holding could save you from being tricked, or worse, from selling something worth thousands of dollars for pennies. Many of our subscribers have already reached out in the comments or through the members area saying they found strange stones, unusual colors, weird shapes, or just something that looks special. But they were afraid to break it, didn't know how to test it, or worse, sold it cheaply without realizing they were holding a real gemstone. Think about it. What's the point of finding one of these rocks, noticing the signs, carefully digging it out, seeing a crystal sparkle in the light, and in the end, having no idea what you're actually holding? The truth is, finding a rare stone is only half the journey. The real value lies in knowing what you found. So the question is, can you really identify gemstones using simple methods at home? Yes, absolutely. And that's exactly why I created the ebook Gemology Journey for Beginners. It's a complete guide designed for those who are just getting started, with clear descriptions, detailed illustrations, and practical tests you can do at home. No lab required. You'll learn how to test hardness, density, transparency, luster, and how to figure out whether you're looking at quartz, tourmaline, topaz, garnet, black opal, or if you're really lucky, even a diamond. The digital version is already available with lifetime access, including all future updates for free, and all subscribers to this channel get an exclusive discount. For the next few days, you can grab your copy for just $9.99 by clicking the first link in the description or the pinned comment below. And if for any reason you're not satisfied, there's a full 7-day money-back guarantee. But that's not all. We're also launching the updated physical edition of the ebook, ready to ship. That's right, you'll be able to hold the complete guide in your hands, printed on high-quality paper, with detailed illustrations, and everything you need to identify gemstones with confidence, without having to rely on anyone else's opinion. And none of this would have been possible without you. This channel just hit a milestone that, honestly, I never imagined when I started. 100,000 subscribers who chose to learn, explore, and search for their own treasures. If you're one of them, thank you for being part of this journey. I also want to give a huge thank you to all the channel members who support this project every month. It's thanks to you that we've been able to grow, improve the videos, create exclusive materials, and now even launch a physical book. This community has grown so much that we're even inspiring other content creators, and it's here to help you on your own journey. But if now's not the right time to grab the ebook or become a member, that's totally okay. You can still subscribe and enjoy all the upcoming videos for free. In fact, in the next video, you'll learn how to find precious stones in the most unexpected places. And yes, that's 100% possible. Thanks for liking and subscribing. Good luck, Gem Hunter!